Hello and welcome, of course, a Friday morning on Rise and Shine Daily. Super happy to have you join us again today. It's a beautiful day and a beautiful day to be on Rise and Shine platform this morning. My name is Janice Cobo. Welcome.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Akwa, Ibom State. It's a beautiful Friday morning to be alive, and it's a good time to rise and shine wherever you are. My name is Anyeka, and I am delighted to be here this morning. Of course, do not forget to like, share, comment across all our social media platforms, out of which you can find at spectrumtv.ng. We also have a phone lines that will be opened up for the Nigerian people segment. Of course, just come talk to us about the issues that will be raised on the floor of Rise and Shine this morning. You can also use our phone lines to send us WhatsApp and text messages, and let's have a really great time this morning.
Yeah, talking about having great time. Of course, that's what we do on, Rise and Shine. Have great times, talk about things happening in the country. But there seems to be a lot in terms of incidences, in recent times. I think in the last 2 days, yes, there's just so much incidences in the country in terms of even fire outbreak, in terms of collisions, headlong collisions, and all of that. So I think at this point, maybe we should be a little bit more careful. I think people do not actually take that word carefulness as something very serious. There are some things that are quite avoidable in life, some incidences that are quite avoidable. And just because somebody's careless or somebody's trying to rush to something or rush to somewhere, there just has to, an incident might occur. And then at the end of the day, because we do not also, tend to foresee the outcome of such incidences, we just go headlong. And most times it leaves people in harm's way, or sometimes it leaves people, maimed for life. And sometimes it even takes life. So I think carefulness should be like a watchword. I know we can't be too careful in terms of life generally, but I think that there are little things that you can do to make sure that you don't have an incident happen.
It's just like the accident that happened in Lagos yesterday. A lot of people are of the opinion that it could have been avoidable, whether it's by the city management structure or whatever it would have been. But some of these accidents, like you said, are really avoidable, and a lot of mishap is happening. So it just calls for people to be more. I would also like to lean into intuitiveness a little bit, because there are times where your mind just tells you no, leave it, don't go, or don't do this, or check this. I mean, you're talking of vehicles. People just sometimes get into their cars and get on the road. You do not check if everything is balancing out, or sometimes you're even on the journey and you begin to hear certain sounds. We don't stop to check what the issue is. We just keep heading on. So we should be more careful. Like you said, it's Friday. A lot of people are going to be traveling back and forth their homes to get back to their families from work. So we need to be careful. Pay attention to intuition. If you get once you get an internal alarm, I think you should pay attention to that. Every one of us has it, and you would hear that's how a lot of people have escaped incidences at this time.
And not even talking about accidents or things like that. You can even look at domestic accidents, even in the home front. What are those little things that you do to check? Like switching off your lights when you're leaving your home. There could be, when your lighting points are on, there could be a power surge. It could affect your appliances, or even set your house ablaze, depending on how powerful the surge is. It could set your house ablaze. So those little checks that we need to check from time to time. So it's not about, okay, so people are traveling, intuitiveness, fine, fantastic, it works, but I think that let's even bring it back to those little things that we do and tend to overlook in terms of security checks. Even when you go to bed, have you checked if the door is properly locked? Sometimes it happens, I even forget to lock the door, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I left the door open. So those are things that people should really take into cognizance. Those little things that we actually have to check, to as part of lifestyle, make it your lifestyle that you check those things, put off appliances when you want to leave. And sometimes I know that people even change their power circuits, you know, when they are traveling, for example, you know, change their power circuits, remove it totally from NEPA and fix it on maybe generator that you know that you will not get to on it, you know, just because they want to be safe and know that when they come back, their house is in one piece, you know, and all of that. So I think that these are some of the little things that we need to do, you know, in terms of moving forward in life. But anyways, on Rise and Shine this morning, let's go straight to our major stories for the day. Of course, a lot's happening still on the heels of the elections. I don't think there has been an election that has had a lot of controversies like this particular one that happened on the 25th of February. You know, we're still talking about it because there are still issues bordering around the election, the presidential election precisely. And just yesterday, we saw the President Muhammadu Buhari, come out to say that the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress will stand no matter what, you know. And those kind of statements, I don't know how Nigerians will actually perceive it, but then it goes a long way to say that, look, no matter what happens, you know, the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to stand, no matter what, you know, they do in court. You know, the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will stand. So more like the president will do everything to make sure that that victory is upheld.
Doesn't that go against the tenets of, you know, free and fair election? If Nigerians think the election wasn't free and fair, is it not in the right of, you know, the citizens and even the candidates who stood for the elections to go to court? I mean, we had INEC chairman continue to say, if you are not satisfied with the proceedings of the just concluded election, let everybody head to the court. But now that the statement by the president is saying, you know, whether or not you go to the court, it means that you know, it will not avoid whether or not you go to the court.
It doesn't make any meaning.
Yeah, it stands. And Janice, that is a lot of problem in this season, because in recent times, let's be honest, we've had a backlog of the presidency not keeping to the words of the Supreme Court. So it doesn't matter if, you know, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi are going to head on till they reach the Supreme Court to try the proceedings of the just concluded February 25th election. We have now seen a track record of the presidency not adhering to the judgment of the court. Is this not already a big alarm in the democracy of the
whatever
country?
we do in the court, whatever judgments we get from the court, you know, in terms of this particular election, it won't hold water because the presidency says that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is his victory is more like sacrosanct, cast on stone. Nothing is changing it. But let's put things in perspective now. President Muhammadu Buhari has said that despite alleged irregularities and harsh criticisms of the Independent National Electoral Commission, the results of the February 25 presidential and National Assembly election still stands until otherwise proven in court. Okay, fantastic.
All right.
It also ruled out any possibility of annulling the presidential election, as was done on June 12, 1993.
But that just negates the prior statement.
Aggrieved candidates of the opposition party to pursue redress in courts instead. Now, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, revealed this in a piece chronicling key takeaways from the president's recently concluded trip to Doha, Qatar, where he attended the 5th United Nations Summit on Least Developed Countries. Reports has that long before INEC declared the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu as the winner of the election, the opposing People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party called for the cancellation of the exercise altogether, citing irregularities. Now, let's even look at, you know, this particular statement again. You know, when he said, until when proven otherwise in court, it was just a fantastic statement. But then again, it's also contradicting when you say that the presidential elections cannot also be annulled, just like it was annulled in the 1993 elections, you know. But even if you want to compare it with the 1993 elections now of MKO Abiola, it was that MKO Abiola actually won the election. He was the people's choice. So what happened that the then head of state, Ibrahim Babangida now annulled that particular election. So it's not the same thing when we want to compare the two elections together. The election that brought Bola Ahmed Tinubu into office as president-elect is nothing compared to what we had, in 1993, actually.
This is quite a worrying, statement there by the president of the Federal Republic at this time, especially seeing how things are in the country and where the minds of the people are. Let's not forget that this is not even the race of where you're having like Atiku Abubakar or Peter Obi push by themselves the cause of, okay, we are not satisfied with the election. This is more like Nigerians are the ones crying out through the voices of their preferred candidates at this time. So when you say that it doesn't matter what we see, the elections will not be annulled like the 1993 constitution, you're saying that at this time the power of the electorate does not count. It takes us right back to where Nigerians continue to say our votes do not count, because what is the essence of all of us coming out to vote? We see irregularities, and like we said, we've seen the likes of Peter Obi continue to vehemently say, let peace be still, let's head to the court and see what the courts say, and everybody is obeying that directive, but yet you're saying nothing is going to come of it no matter what. It's the candidacy and Bola Ahmed Tinubu being the president-elect stands with no matter what we see in the court. I don't think that that's a very fruitful statement, and it should be expected that in the next couple of days, even today, you're going to begin to see a lot of people react. You're talking about what do we call them now, civil society organizations, and even Nigerians are going to begin to have an uproar. Now, one thing that has been on the sidelines since after the elections on the 25th has been like Nigerians keeping fingers crossed. Let's be careful not to heat up the polity in any area. Let's remain at peace. But some of these statements in themselves are not they're insightful, so to speak, because for the longest time in recent months, we've had conversations where it feels like Nigerians are not respected for who they are in their own country. Their opinion about certain things do not hold. I mean, we continue to talk about the fact that democracy is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. But like Citizen O'Connor had said the other day, we are not running democracy in Nigeria. It's a matter of just civil rule in the country. Because how can you say that the words and the verdict of the people will not stand in an election that you obviously saw that Nigerians changed the trajectory of the elections? If you come now to see the fact that these things are not holding, then we need a change. If the court is the best place that can offer us that, let's head there.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely head to court, according to, what the president has always said, that the court is where they will definitely go to seek redress in terms of their dissatisfaction with the elections put all together. I know that a total of 85 senior advocates of Nigeria. When I saw that news yesterday, I was actually smiling and laughing to myself. 85 senior advocates of Nigeria has been employed by the People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party, and the All Progressives Party put together. So it's going to be a big tussle between SAN, Senior Advocates of Nigeria, and court, trying to prove to Nigerians that this election was either full of irregularities and mandates were stolen, or basically that the mandate that was given to the All Progressive Congress was actually the mandate of the people as well. So it's going to be a really tough one. It's going to be a tough one. But when the president comes out, we know that from inception he has always been of the opinion that he wants to leave a legacy behind. So at this point now, there are questions to be raised. Is the president actually leaving a legacy behind? And if yes, he is leaving a legacy. Of course, legacies can be good, it can be bad legacies, okay? So if he is leaving a legacy behind, what is the kind of legacy he is leaving behind? Will we as Nigerians beat our hands on our chests to say, yes, the president has actually done well enough, you know, to make sure that Nigeria's democracy still is upheld and upheld properly as well? Because when we say democracy, we just like you gave that definition, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So when we see a situation like this, are the people happy? We know that for every election, there are always going to be people that are not happy. But you look at the statistics of those that are even happy and satisfied with the election, and the statistics of those that are not. If the statistics of the people that are happy with elections are even more than the people that are not happy, we say, okay, fantastic, you have given us a free, fair, and credible election. But if it proves otherwise, then there is a serious problem here. And just like the international communities have said, no matter what, you know, the president is doing or the federal government is doing at this time, let us see how we can go back in time and review this particular election. Because when we are looking at the election, there's just so many discrepancies and irregularities that has marred this particular elections. So let's go back to the drawing board, because we are looking at other elections in the next 4 years, 8 years, and you know, till
you're even looking at March 18 election.
Okay, March 18 election is just by the corner here. So have we sat down as an electoral body to say that we are reviewing, okay, what happened in this state, what happened in that state, what did they say happened at the end of the day? We put all of this together, review it, and see how we can become better, you know, towards the next election. So I think that basically, let's not say that we are sweeping all the irregularities that have been associated with the presidential elections. Let's not sweep it underneath the carpet. Let's bring it out. People would definitely cry foul. Anyways, let's bring it out and review it and see how we can make it better. So it goes beyond the president saying, look, the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will stand. Yes, it will stand only and only if at the end of the day, the court proves that it's going to stand. But in a case where the court upturns the elections, what happens? Will there not be an annulment of that particular elections or that particular mandate from a Bola Ahmed Tinubu? So I think the president should be also very conscious and cautious of the kinds of statements he makes.
At this time, right? Because there seems to be a non-challenge, you know, from the federal government and even INEC at this time. You can't treat the collective voice of Nigerians with the kind of nonchalance that we're seeing at this time. We can't treat it with, you know, this kind of nonchalance. It's like absolutely unacceptable. Like you said, the percentage of Nigerians crying out for, you know, the system to be checked is way more than those that are satisfied with the election has concluded. Now, you know, as part of all of this, we see that the presidency said in the build-up to his trip to Qatar, he was faced with orchestrated attempts to poison public opinion against national institutions, particularly the presidential election and its conduct by the Independent National Electoral Commission as an institution, against which vile and unsubstantiated allegations were hurled. Now, he's saying that, you know, the statement of the president is to clear the intent of this by creating an atmosphere where, you know, fear and polarizing of the public institutions are not there. Now, this is I think this is Sheu's explanation as to why, you know, President Buhari will make this statement, just to put some form of trust back on the public institutions that were saddled with the responsibility of the elections. But it's in broad daylight that the institution failed. It's not just Nigerians that are saying that there was something wrong with the elections. The international community that came to observe the elections have all said that the elections were greatly marred by irregularities. It should be more for, you know, like you would always say, go back to the drawing board and let's see where we got it wrong, dot our I's and cross our T's. But this is, let's not forget that President Muhammadu Buhari himself is a retired, general. So there is still that. Really?
That force that comes,
These are some of the conversations people have had for the longest time. I mean, there's a tendency for you to think it's a military rule, so you just say what you say and it's going to stand, because the contradiction in his statements is clear, you know, before our eyes. First of all, his stand is that, you know, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's candidacy and being, being elected as president-elect stands. That's what it says. First of all, yes. No matter what you do, it stands. Then he comes in the very next paragraph to say, you know, until proven otherwise
by the court.
But then you have said, even now, it sounds like you say, even though it is, it will not be annulled as the 1993 election was.
The good thing about all of the things happening right now is that Nigerians are more interested in this particular elections.
Exactly.
Maybe that is what government is not understanding. So even you see a very young person that hitherto, you know, did not have any interest in politics, but it's different this time around. I'm going to read something to you very quickly. I just saw this now. This young man says, his name is Akindele Paul. He says, I am in my 40s, and I can tell you that in close to me being 50 years on earth, I have never been this glued to electoral process. I am here in the office refreshing for updates from appeal court proceedings. Now, that's a young Nigerian talking here. So it's obvious that before now, we didn't have this kind of interest in politics.
People are seeking knowledge and understanding.
To our television sets, we are glued to social media and to verified pages where information drops on the go to find out exactly what is happening. So definitely people have their stance on the presidential elections, and they'll fight it tooth and nail. Now, aside from even the candidates in question fighting in the, you know, these legal battles, Nigerians will also stand up. They'll stand up to cry out loud, you know? So I think that the president should also recognize that fact, that it's not the Nigeria of before. This is not business as usual. Everybody seems to be interested, and every Nigerian, because of the surge in terms of registration of PVCs, every Nigerian wants their votes counted.
This is actually the fight of Nigerians. It's not just you know, the race of public offices at this time. Nigerians are tired of the way things have been in the country and are now seeking a redress in our public system, in the way democracy has been done way before this time. So like you know, you said, it's a matter of those in public offices to be more careful. You're not trying to really get in the way of Nigerians.
So accountability will be demanded this time around.
It will. You know, because like, first of all, it was more like there is really nothing you all can do, and then all of a sudden Nigerians brought out who they want to be president, right? They found that person in, you know, the person of Peter Obi, and put that in.
There are also Nigerians that want a Tinubu.
Yes,
there are also Nigerians that want
what I'm saying in terms of that, I'm not saying it's a general acceptance, but I'm saying when you think Nigerians don't have a say and an opinion, this election has proved otherwise, because we saw from zero to nothing rising up to the end. I'm just saying that Nigerians have been able to make a clear statement that their voice can count in the elections. So like they did in finding a candidate, you know, for instance, they can continue to push their conversation to the end, even if it's an Atiku Abubakar that they want at the end of the day. It should be sure that Nigerians would demand, you know, that some clarification is brought to the election that was just done, whether it's on any of the, you know, candidates' part. Now, truth be told, even if there are Nigerians that think that, you know, Tinubu is the man for the job, and they also can take their evidences to the court. I mean, in all of the time that these irregularities were being addressed by party agents during collation, Yakubu Mahmood continued to say, we will take this to court. If you have, you know, a problem with the proceedings, take it to court. At this time, we shouldn't have the presidency insinuate that even the court, you know, will not be able to say otherwise concerning the elections. Let Nigerians be able to, you know, prove the system of how independent they are of the influence of the federal government and certain people in government, actually.
Anyways, we'll just leave it at that on that particular story. Of course, President Muhammadu Buhari telling Nigerians that the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress will stand no matter what. Okay, so our next story now is rather a very saddening one. Of course, we saw what happened in Lagos yesterday morning. It was quite saddening to see that at least 2 people died while several others injured as a passenger train crushed a Lagos government staff bus at PWD Shongule Axis, Ikeja area of the state yesterday morning, like I said. Now, the train was coming from Agege area and met the bus with the Lagos state government workers on board, crossing the rail to link Ikeja GRA. One of the onlookers, of course, told reporters that the tragic events, which happened as early as around 8 a.m., claimed a number of lives. And reports also learned that the victims of the accident, who were workers of the Lagos State government, have been carried to Lagos State University Teaching Hospital last week. This was also revealed by the Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Dr. Oluwafemi Oke Osoyin Tolu. Okay. The incident also happened around 7:38 in the morning of yesterday, and of course, train collision, serious issues here, and it was quite a bloody one yesterday when I saw this, and the question of what's really happening in our country just came into my mind.
In recent days, there's been a lot of information about train collision, even in other parts of the world. So we are beginning to think what exactly is going on. But when we talk about, we need to now look at the fact that train rails need to be demarcated from where normal day activities take place, because, and I think this is a problem from the train operators. Usually, if you remember from your storybooks when we were in primary school, it will read that when a train is coming, it comes with this honk from where it is coming to the gate.
You don't even have to read from storybooks. I've seen firsthand. Trains pass through the Marwan market in Port Harcourt. There's a rail line that cuts across the market.
Yes.
And then once a train is coming, you see agents of the train station, begin to raise their red flags, and the honk of the train is so loud that you can actually hear from a very far distance. And then once that happens, the train liners, raise their red flags so that traders, selling by the rail side will begin to evacuate their goods and make way for the train. So we hardly even had situations where you're saying, oh, we had train incidences in Marwan Market, Port Harcourt. So what exactly is the problem here? We saw the last one that happened and crushed that lady was in Abuja.
Yes.
We've seen another one in Lagos where 2 persons have been confirmed dead.
And this is even like, we do not also know what happened to the bus itself, because it looks like the bus actually jumped a passageway, what do we call it now, like a gutter now, and jumped right into the rail line. So there's a lot of misunderstanding here. But at the end of the day, the train sector will need to be checked, because why are we not following the operatives of train transportation? Why didn't we have agents flagging down the fact that a train was en route? And then why are we having vehicles just passing on the train tracks without checking if there's an oncoming train? And I mean, the speed of the train is something else that we must not even forget. So the minutes between, we can make, and some drivers can be really careless. Oh, the train looks like 2 minutes away, I can do a quick run over, and then you just find out that these kinds of accidents happen.
That's serious madness. If you say
it happens every day.
The speed of the train is
don't you find yourself
else.
at U-turns, and then the driver says, does a quick calculation in their mind, in 1 minute I can make this turn, when you can obviously see that it's very dangerous. But it's such a sad time in Lagos State. I must say, people left for work yesterday morning, and some of them will not be returning because of this mishap that has happened. Do we need to recheck some of our road use habits and all of those things? Yes, we need to. We'll need to even investigate this particular accident. What could have been done
definitely. And we also saw the Lagos State government governor now, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on site at the last week's hospital to check on the victims, and he also had something to say. I wish we can have that video now to listen to what Babajide Sanwo-Olu said concerning the victims. Okay, I think one of the things he also mentioned was that flags will be flown at half-mast, and other things that he said concerning this particular issue.
So we have 85 passengers that were in the bus from the immediate triage, that was conducted and to separate, various degrees of injuries. So we have 85 passengers that were in the bus from the immediate triage, that was conducted and to separate, various degrees of injury. So we have 85 passengers that were in the bus from the immediate triage, that was conducted, and to separate, various degrees of injuries.
Well, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, they're commiserating with victims of the train and bus mishap yesterday in Lagos State. I know that a lot more people, the likes of Jandor, the People's Democratic Party, the likes of Peter Obi now also, commiserated with those. Jandor was also on site, but it looks as if a little bit of politics is being played in all of that.
Oh, but politicians will always be politicians, finding a way to...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We'll just put a pause on that now and head straight to the news brief desk. And when we come back, of course, other stories on Rise and Shine will continue. Just stay with us.
heads of government, Secretary General, distinguished delegates.
This is from the Lagos, Nigeria today, for Spectrum TV to recover 45 seats still counting.
A very good morning to you and welcome to your morning news briefing Spectrum, live from Uyo. I am Mary Joseph. We begin the news brief this morning with the presidency, where it has said that despite alleged irregularities and harsh criticisms of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), the result of the February 25 presidential National Assembly elections still stands until otherwise proven in court. It also ruled out any possibility of annulling the presidential elections, as was done on June 12, 1993, advising aggrieved candidates of the opposition parties to pursue redress in court instead. Away from that, the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, has expressed sadness over the train mishap which occurred yesterday in Lagos State. A statement by Henshaw Obubike, Director of Press and Public Relations of the Ministry in Abuja, says Sambo had also ordered an immediate investigation into the unfortunate incident. The minister sympathized with the victims and prayed for the repose of the souls of those who died and quick recovery for the injured ones. He also commiserated with the families of the victims and the government and people of Lagos State over the incident. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has indicated plans to appeal court judgment granting the request of two plaintiffs to use their temporary voters' cards. The Chief Press Secretary (CPS) to the INEC Chairman Rotimi Ayekami, in a statement, expressed the intention of the Commission to approach the appellate courts. Let's head now to the foreign scene, where China's leader Xi Jinping has secured a historic third term as president from the country's rubber-stamp parliament. It follows a consolidation of power that has made Xi China's most dominated leader in generations. Confirmation of his third term as president has been widely expected, and the naming of a new premier and various ministers in the coming days is considered more important. And finally, in sports, the Nigerian Football Federation has moved the final round of the Under-23 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier game between Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau, which will be played on Wednesday, March 22nd from Ibadan to Abuja. In a statement released by the NFF's Director of Media and Communications, the fixture will now be played in Abuja 2 days before the Super Eagles will host Guinea-Bissau in a 2023 AFCON qualifier at the same venue. We'll have details of these stories and more in our news at 12. I am Mary Joseph. Let's head back to Rise and Shine, where we have Janice and Uyai on standby. Do have a wonderful weekend.
Heads of government, Secretary General, distinguished delegates.
This is from the Lagos, Nigeria today, for Spectrum TV to recover 45 seats still counting.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Ibro.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa
It's shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Rise and Shine, and we're coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa, Ibom State, Nigeria. We've been bringing you several topical conversations of things happening in Nigeria. Of course, yesterday we saw that the president gave a statement and upheld that the candidacy and the win of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be upheld by the country until proven otherwise by the court. And also he further stated in his statement that we should not expect an annulment of the just concluded February 25th election like was seen in the 1993 elections. We also talked about the very sad incident that took place yesterday in Lagos State, where there was a collision of a bus carrying government staff into a train on track. Of course, lots of casualties there, but the souls of those who have been lost rest in peace. At this point, we move forward to our daily spotlight, where we'll bring you stories from the front pages of our national dailies.
Okay, so national dailies and daily spotlight. Let's find out what the papers have to say to us this morning. Don't forget, this is a segment where we throw open the phone lines so Nigerians can actually have their say. So do well to call us when the phone lines are open so you have your contributions made. But let's start this morning with the Nation newspaper. What does the Nation newspaper say today? The big story on the Nation newspaper says survivors recount moments train slammed into bus. Quite a pathetic story there. The writer says 6 die, 29 critically injured, 50 suffers injury. Buhari Tinubu sympathize. Sanwo-Olu visits injured in hospital. Lagos accident distressing, says Buhari. You can find all of the stories on page 3. Okay, and let's move on now. INEC rejects court ruling on temporary voter cards use. Okay, that was another angle a lot of people came from. And then APC uncovers plots by fake Nadeco chief to discredit poll. 25 killed in Badagry, Enugu, Ogbomoso road crashes. And another story says APC, Labour, NMPP differ on shift of governorship polls. We also have a story here that says Wike, we will chase away Atiku orders and rebuild PDP. I think that's quite a humongous job. Wike is going to be doing that. But we also have pictorial stories of the sad events that happened in Lagos State. Of course, the collision between the train and the Lagos State staff bus yesterday morning in Lagos State. And that's all we have on the front page of the Nation this morning.
All right, move straight ahead and take my stories from the Punch newspaper this morning. The Punch newspaper says NRC LASMA blame driver as federal government orders probe into the Lagos train bus crash. Of course, bus driver reckless, ignored safety warning by railway staff, says officials. 6 killed, families donate blood as 29 critically injured battle for survival. Lagos suspends political campaigns. Buhari, Tinubu, Atiku, others mourn. We have here INEC folds judgment permitting temporary voter cards for polls. Page 8. NCAA probes Lufthansa over alleged passengers maltreatment. Page 20. Visa revocation caught by CEO from running Seplat. Page 24. Roadblock. Victims tackle lawless soldiers over extortion and harassment. Pages 4 and 5 is where you can find that particular story. Of course, there's a pictorial story here of the accident that occurred yesterday in Lagos State. And these are all the stories that we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, let's go now to our very next paper, and that will be Nigerian Tribune. Let's look at what Nigerian Tribune has to say this morning. Of course, still on the major story, trending story making the rounds this morning. 6 die and 70 injured in train Lagos government staff bus collision. And we have that Sanwo-Olu as the writer now. Sanwo-Olu declares 3-day mourning, calls for blood donation. Driver undergoes psychiatric drug test, remanded in custody. We warned drivers before he crossed the rail line, victims narrate story. Quite a sad one there. Some drivers don't even listen. This one says federal government calls for investigation. Buhari, Tinubu, Gbajabiamila government warns. Okay. 10 die in Oyo Oshogbo road accident. Quite sad stories that we have here. You can find that story on page 5. Court orders INEC to allow 2 voters to use temporary voter cards in March 18 polls. Page 8 is where you find the complete story of that headline there. Nadeco has no branch in US. Opadokun says, okay, and tracks Tinubu on ensuring federal constitutional governance. 1 killed, 15 injured as APC PDP supporters clash in Bauchi State. You can find that story on page 26. And moving forward, let's see if we have more stories here on the Nigerian Tribune. I think that's all, but again, we have pictorial stories of the incident yesterday in Lagos State, and of course we saw Babajide Sanwo-Olu, governor of Lagos State, also visit the scene of the accident and also the hospital, Lasut Hospital, where all of the victims were taken to. Quite a pathetic story. When we say that, the driver was warned, don't cross the rail line, and then he did it on his own accord. Did he also, it comes back to what you were trying to say, that sometimes, these people just in their head, they want to think, okay, so I can do a quick one, just to cut corners now. Obviously, maybe there's a route that the driver would have taken that doesn't cross the rail line, but he decided to take a short one, just to get there fast. What exactly are you?
Look at the number of lives lost and the casualties that have been incurred. And funny thing, the man is alive to undergo psychiatric test.
Of course, they have to do a psychiatric test on him to check whether his mental health is actually in
my
order.
point is that this time he's not one of the lives that was lost.
Maybe he's not even maimed. Because if he was maimed, he would have been taken to the hospital first. But since they're taking him to psychiatric, just to go and do a drug test on him to be sure that he did not consume some narcotic substances.
It's something else. Let's just take our very last paper for this morning, and that'll be the Vanguard newspaper. And the very big story on Vanguard here says shift in Guba and state assembly polls. APC, Labour Party, IPAC, others disagree. INEC has eroded our confidence, says Labour Party. Says this INEC can no longer be trusted. We respect INEC's decision, APC. Excuses no longer acceptable, IPAC cautions INEC. Postponement inevitable, says Farumbi, ex-envoy. OT, Badengbo, others speak. We have here plans afoot to cause chaos after Guba polls. DSS warns Nigerians. Polls, IREF glitches didn't deter beavers, INEC insist. Page 9 is where you can find details of that particular story. Guba polls, Kwara APC, PDP, trade words, ever cash inducement of voters. Page 9 is where you can find that story. We also have here armed headers lay siege to 6 Benue local government areas. Gun raises alarm. Page 22. Poll June 12, 1993 saga won't repeat itself, says presidency. Page 6. Governor Poll court orders INEC to allow use of temporary voters cards. Page 6. We have a sports story here that says CAF Confederation Cup, Rivers United top group following Akwa's hat trick. Okay, these are all the stories that we have on the front page of Vanguard. Of course, we also still have here old notes. Cash crunch worsens as Nigerians wait on Buhari to give a follow-up statement after the court had given their judgment, of course.
Yeah, serious concerns on the papers this morning, and I think the postponement actually too. You can't also say that INEC comes up late Wednesday evening to postpone the elections without it having reactions from different quarters, and of course that's why we see that a party like the Labour Party is also, responding and reacting to this particular one. I just read something, concerning that particular story where the Labour Party, under its national chairman Abure now, is saying that look, we have lost confidence in the electoral umpire and the electoral body. So it's not just about saying that the election should be postponed. Let's see how you can even do the right thing, at the end of the day. But this is why we actually have to, open our phone lines to Nigerians to make their comments and observations off the papers, the headlines that have been read out this morning. Let's have you have your say. Of course, you know that this is a segment where Nigerians actually get to have their say. So yeah, serious issues, serious concerns, different people reacting to the postponement of the elections. Is it, I know that we raised this issue yesterday as well, but we have it on the papers this morning. So let's talk a little bit about it. Some people have actually said, look, it's okay for, like the IPAC now saying it's okay for, INEC to actually postpone the elections. But the point is INEC going to do the right thing at the end of the day?
Yeah, it goes beyond just postponing the elections. Are we going to see that their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed? I think that will be one of the excuses that we can make for INEC upon the postponement of the elections. It's not a matter of postponing it and then we come to the 18th of March and then we see the elections still marred with the same irregularities that we have complained about.
Or even much more.
Or even much more. I mean, we are talking about the fact that they need time to reconfigure the BVAS machine and all the like. So I think it's, in fairness to INEC, I think it was a good call at this time.
Well, you might say it was a good call, but maybe Nigerians would think differently. So please do also call us on the phone line displayed on your television set. Let's know your opinion concerning this. Do you think that it's a good call on INEC? I think the major, reason that they have given for this postponement is actually to reconfigure, enough time to reconfigure the BVAS machine now. Let's not also forget that the likes of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party and even the All Progressive Party Congress now decided to also seek courts how do I put it now, go to court to seek permission to actually get access into sensitive materials from INEC, and the BVAS is one of those sensitive materials that they need to also get data from, to be able to put their cases forward in court as they get to appeal the result of the election. So we have all of those things play in at this point in time. I think we have our first caller. Let's take this call now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for even putting down the volume of your television. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Baridan calling from Niger State.
Oh, fantastic. Go ahead.
About the configuration of INEC BVAS. Well, they know what they are trying to do. If not, to me, each of those BVAS contains the names of voters in each of the polling units. And the same set of voters that voted for the presidency will be the same set of voters that will also vote for the governorship election. So I don't know whether they are going to remove those names and bring another name again. So the kind of configuration they are going to do, well, is best known to them. But to me, I believe each polling unit has set of voters that are there, and those data have been installed into the device. So are they going to install again, or there's some update, or they are going to create more units? So we don't know, but it's best known to them. But to me, I don't see any reason why they should talk about to reinstall or this thing they're talking about. If not, it's the same people that will come back to vote. To me, I see it as maybe a way of buying time or an excuse or whatever. Like me, I am security expert. We have similar devices like that we are using in my organization. We update it yearly based on the data. But this one, I don't know. Though I don't work in INEC, so I don't know what we are watching them. But let them make their things transparent so that we can trust them. If look at if what they are doing is not transparent, that is why people are no longer trusting them. So they should make anything they are doing transparent. The whole world and us, we are watching them so that we can trust and believe in what they say they are doing and what they are doing. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Baridon from Niger State. I think the take home from what he said is let INEC, be very transparent in their dealings. Yes, there's a cry for transparency, and that is because of all the things that happened during the presidential elections. Is that puts Nigerians in that spot where they think that there's some connivance between the electoral body and the ruling party right now. So INEC has a lot of job to do in terms of showing Nigerians that look, we are truly, truly independent, actually.
There's a lot of work for INEC to do at this time. And let's not even forget the fact that the system doesn't... Nigerians at this point really don't trust INEC anymore. The irregularities are too much to ask. And then I think the body language of INEC and even the presidency at this time is actually really giving off the system. Let's take this very calm now. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Eric. I'm Eric. I'm speaking from Anambra State.
Okay, sorry, we didn't get your name. Turn down the volume of your television set.
Eric from Anambra State. Yes. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, better.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I love what you are discussing. What happened is that the federal government anchored their appointment on qualification, academic qualification. That somebody is a professor is not that he's responsible or qualified. What matters a lot is that in their selection in question, they should anchor or they should base their selection on managerial acumen. As bankers or bank executives, retired bank executives are better in that position. And also retired civil servants could be used in that position. And I don't believe that professors are the best in selection. These professors have been disappointing us. You see, okay, look at now. I mean, everybody, almost everybody, is feeling, cheated. The way the INEC acted in the last election. So that's my own opinion. The federal government should be very careful and decisive issue, in selecting who will be the INEC chief in case of future. In case of future, this Yakubu Mahmoud is a body of disappointment to our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Did you get his name?
I didn't get his name still.
But he's calling from Anambra State.
Yes.
And he's also said that there are better people that can be used in such positions. Bankers, he said so. And
I think more like people that have interacted with numbers and data.
Yes, and data.
Yeah, number and data is very, very important. So it's not just about that you're a professor. Professor of what exactly? So maybe if we're also looking at professors, if we do, professor of
medicine?
Data, professor of data and analytics. Right, if we have someone that is in that area, in that field, statistics for instance, maybe those kinds of people will be able to relate with collation of data, interpretation of data, and
he has a team, and it's possible.
Yes, that's what
it's possible that some of these people
beyond them as individuals.
Of course, yes.
We are talking of money inducement. We are talking about the pressure of power.
We are even talking about administration here.
Yes, so a lot of things. Yes, and that's what our last caller also said. We need to look at someone who has strength in administration also.
So from the civil service.
Yeah. So so there's just a lot of things that needs to be looked like, go beyond, this person is a professor and should just go sit there.
Okay.
There's a lot of problems.
Let's take our next call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Borno State.
Borno State. Okay, I didn't get your name, so you can do well to tell us your name again.
Pardon?
Please tell us your name again.
My name is Ginikachi Philip Ochu.
Ginikachi.
Okay.
All right, Ginikachi from Borno. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your program. I always enjoy your program.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate
you calling for the first time.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. My contribution to this INEC issue is that INEC is not being fair and transparent enough to us. they have not been fair and transparent enough to us because all our efforts, people suffer to vote from one distance to another where we cannot even get transport. You have to trek. Some people left up where they voted because of the risk of coming back. Along the line, issue of beavers not uploading and other things is discouraging people now to go and vote for the upcoming governorship election, which has been postponed. I don't know the reason why they postponed the election, but then
just
I
to have
believe
more
it's
time to configure the beavers. That's what INEC said actually.
Okay, as that may be their own reason of their own point of actualizing their aim of postponing it, because I believe that some of these things are things that are done with internet and the records are supposed to be there. I don't see the reason why there are a lot of evidence that shows that they are not transparent to us. And they postponing this election again shows that they are not still going to be transparent enough in the governorship and national state house of assemblies election that is coming up.
All right. Thank you so much, Philip. I think you've made your points there. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution on our show this morning. Well, that's his opinion. More like INEC asking for more time. It's for them to
hopefully it is not for to give more room for skirmishes.
Yes.
That's
and manipulations.
Yes, we hope not.
Okay, so we'll just take this last caller and we'll take a breather and bring in our guest. Hello, good morning.
Okay, so we just take this.
Please do well to turn down the volume of your television. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
good morning.
My name is Ezekiel. I'm calling from Benue State.
Ezekiel from Benue State. Go ahead.
The major problem with the Nigerians and the voting process is I've been telling people that this election based on INEC procedures, because people are starting seeing INEC as a failure. Are you here?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, because the result INEC is giving Nigerians is not what they are seeing in their polling units. So now people are starting seeing INEC as a failure. So many of them don't have the zeal, the opinion, or whatever it is to go and vote for this governorship election, because the result will be manipulated, and what people are expecting there is not what INEC will release to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think that's a different side to the story from all that we've heard this morning. He's also of the opinion that, look, let's trust INEC. Let's give INEC the benefit of doubt, to do their job. They have their procedures. That's just the truth. INEC has their procedures, and they can go by their procedures. And it's not because, the elections is not favoring your own interest as a person, or is not favoring your political candidate as a person. That means that the election is not good, or was mad or something. Do we still have that caller there? Maybe we can take that one.
Yes, let's take this one. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from the Akwa State.
Please turn down the volume. Turn down the volume of the television set, please. Turn it down completely. All right, thank you so much.
And, I want to
what's your name, please? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
What is the purpose of the island to?
Okay, sorry, we didn't get your name. We need your name. Hello, good morning. Thank you. Can you tell us your name? We got your location, but we didn't get your name.
My name is Matthew from
Matthew? Okay, go ahead, Matthew. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. Okay, so that was a dropped call. I wish that Matthew could have had his opinion made, but I think this is where we just have to put a pause on all of the calls. Thank you so much for those that have called in. We'll take a breather now and then bring in our guests. Of course, we are looking at the judgment that was given recently in favor of the APC gubernatorial candidate in Akwa Ibom State and the person of Udofia. We'll be right back after this time out. Just stay with us.
police force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Ibro.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court, my lord.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Welcome back. This is still Rise and Shine, and we come to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa State, Nigeria. Several conversations that have gone on Rise and Shine this morning. Things you can catch up on if you follow us across all our social media platforms, all of which you can find at spectrumtv.ng. At this time, we want to have a conversation looking into the Akwa State gubernatorial race. The candidacy of Udofia has been in the tussle for a couple of months in the court, as Senator Itainang had taken him and the APC to court over, the legitimacy of Udofia as the gubernatorial candidate of the APC in Akwa State. A couple of days back, we saw court judgment ruling that Udofia is the legitimate candidate for the APC gubernatorial seat polls in Akwa State. But then there's still a lot of controversy around the name and around that particular candidacy. We have Barrister Imo Akpan here on set, who himself is the spokesperson for Udofia campaign council, and he'll be having that conversation with us this morning. Good morning, good to have you on set, Barrister.
Good morning, good morning, Janice. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, of course, the recent Supreme Court judgment, it was everywhere, on news bulletins and all of that, that Udofia is now the legal or legitimate candidate under the All Progressives Congress, going to the polls on Saturday. Okay, so they have postponed it to 18th of March now. But this has actually come with a lot of mixed feelings and controversies as well, So the question now is, what did the Supreme Court say? Maybe we don't also understand, the nitty-gritties of this particular judgment. What is the court saying? And why does it still give room for gray areas where people are saying that, look, this story is not true?
Well, in the APC, we're excited that this circus show that started immediately after the governorship primaries in May last year has finally come to an end with the judgment of the Supreme Court delivered on the 7th of March. Now, the judgment of the Supreme Court is now greeted with mixed feelings. It's greeted with pomp and aplomb and excitement from
your camp,
members of the APC, and indeed from Akwa Ibom people. The subject of discourse today in the entire state, which has drowned in every other subject in an election week, is Obon Udofia's candidature. And for us, that gives us a lot of hope. It gives us a lot of excitement. It suggests to us that we have a lot of work to do. It also suggests to us that we have quite some responsibility to let Akwa Ibom people know that we are ready for the elections, not just the elections proper, but beyond the elections. We're ready to provide good governance for Akwa Ibom people. So there are no mixed feelings. If there are people who are not comfortable with the outcome of that judgment, those are the people who went to court. And I mean, of course, for every loser, it's expected that there should be some kind of discontent, some kind of bitterness, but then you don't have options. When you go into any contestation, you must have at the back of your mind that you either come out as successful or you come out as the loser. And in this kind of instance, it is expected that you play the good sportsman's role. But when you find people who come out of the court, especially given the decision of a Supreme Court, the apex court of the land, and then you go behind the building to do amateur videos, trying to weave narratives that sidetrack from what the Supreme Court said, then it leaves a lot to be desired. But then the candidature of the APC has been put to rest, at least legally speaking, even though the Supreme Court said that what we have been doing for close to 10 months has been a waste of time. The import of the judgments from the Federal High Court to the Court of Appeal and now to the Supreme Court means that we have actually been wasting our time. We've actually been wasting judicial time. We've been wasting resources on almost nothing. I say this because when the Federal High Court delivered its judgment on the 14th of November, it said Obon Udofia was not even a member of the APC, and it nullified the primaries of the party and ordered for fresh primaries, excluding Obon Udofia. But that was overturned on the 19th of January by the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal said in the final analysis that the entire proceedings conducted at the Federal High Court was a nullity. The meaning is that you ought not to have gone to the court in the first place. The meaning is that you ought not to have conducted the proceedings in the first place. And so therefore, whatever issues were raised there, whatever issues or decisions were arrived at, were of no moment in law. And that is what the Supreme Court on the 7th of March has affirmed, because the judgment of the Supreme Court is an express and an unequivocal affirmation of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which also now says that we've been wasting our time. In fact, it said that the case is not only dismissed, but that it was an academic exercise. I think it was a mild way of saying that we've been wasting our time. So if the court says that we've been wasting our time, it means that the primaries of the APC conducted on the 26th of May last year was unchallenged and was flawless. Why we have had to be put through these, well, I think God understands best. But I have always maintained that for everything in this process that looks discomfiting for us, it turns out a blessing. And we see that this has generated so much interest.
Okay, before we even go further, I think the plaintiff now, who is the person of Senator Itaina, is saying that what you or your camp is peddling is different from what the judgment of the Supreme Court actually says. That the Supreme Court is saying, go do a rerun. That the Supreme Court is only affirming Akanimo Udofia as what do you call it now, as a member of the APC and not a candidate.
Well, that is laughable. Senator Tanang is a former member of the APC. Senator Tanang lost the primaries of the governorship primaries of the party. He scored 34 votes behind Obon Okanimo Udofia's 1,227 votes or so. I do not think that he has the capacity, especially the fact that he's a lawyer.
He has the capacity to do what?
He doesn't have the capacity to give his own interpretation or superimpose his own understanding or desires. You know, somebody goes to court and expects that the judgment should go in his favor. And sometimes even when you ruminate over the issues, chances are that you can even select the kind of wordings you want to hear from their lordships sitting on the bench. But when you get there and the story and outcome is different, the shock sometimes becomes difficult to come out of. And I think that what Senator Tainang is going through is part of that shock. I mean, which is natural. It will take time to come around it. But like I said, Senator Tainang is not saying the truth. The only way you would know without looking at the judgment of the court, what the court said, because the court said this appeal is dismissed. The judgment of the Court of Appeal is affirmed, and even went further to give particulars of what it had dismissed and so on and so forth. Now, for a thorough or a better understanding, what did Senator Tainang set out to achieve when he went to the Federal High Court? First of all, he said the primaries of the party was a sham because it was not monitored by INEC. And secondly, that Obon Okanimo Udofia was not even a member of the APC. And then he gave an alternative prayer and says if the court agrees with him that Obon Okanimo Udofia is not a member of the APC, even though I have claimed that the primaries is a sham, having come second, a distant second with 34 paltry votes, I should be declared the winner of the party, of the primaries, having discounted whatever votes were scored by Okanimo Udofia, which according to him was not a member of the party. Fortunately for him, the Court of Appeal agreed with that. Sorry, the Federal High Court agreed with that. To the extent that, yes, Okanimo Udofia is not a member of the party, we will nullify the primaries. Since you said it was a sham, you can't be asking for prayers that are contradictory. So go back and have a rerun. But of course, the party challenged that because it is our understanding, and that's the position of the law, that it is only a political party that can determine who its candidate is. It is the political party that organizes the primaries. It is the political party that has the responsibility of forwarding the name of a successful aspirant as candidate to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
So we can boldly say that the APC in Akwa Ibom State is in support of an Udofia candidate.
Not just Akwa Ibom State, the National Working Committee. That is what the law says. It is the National Working Committee. The alter ego of APC as an organization is the National Working Committee of the party. It's not just the state, executive council. So now at the Court of Appeal overturned what the Federal High Court said. Court of Appeal said, Kanima Udofia, candidate of the party. In fact, like I said, that whatever you did at the Federal High Court was a nullity. But the Supreme Court now, in specific terms, said, one, the issues you raised about Kanima Udofia's status as a member of the APC. First of all, he is a member of the APC. And it is only the APC who can decide who its members are. The second issue you have raised is that the National Working Committee gave him a waiver, and that waiver was not valid. The Supreme Court says, no, the waiver is valid. The party has a right to issue waivers to its members as it deems fit, pursuant to its constitution. The other point was, if he is a member of the party, and he was granted waiver to contest the primaries, and he actually won the primaries, it goes without saying that that is the candidate of the party. So if Senator Tanang is saying, oh, that is not what the Supreme Court said, the Supreme Court gave answers to the questions he raised. So if these are the questions he raised, is he saying the Supreme Court did not give him answers? The Supreme Court dismissed his appeal in its entirety, said it was an academic exercise, affirmed the status of Kanima Udofia as a member of the APC, as the candidate of the party, and that the waiver granted him was valid. So I don't see where the controversies would arise if you ask questions and the questions have been answered. I don't know where the controversies will arise. But like I said, it is wrong and unconscionable. It is reprehensible that a lawyer, a litigant, an appellant in a case that has been pronounced upon with finality by the Supreme Court will come to the site. If the aspects of the Supreme Court judgment that are not clear to him, he's free to approach the court once again for an interpretation.
Okay, let's even look at it from this angle now. There was a time there were allegations of him not, that Senator Itaina now, not being a member of the APC again. So where does that stand?
Those are not allegations.
There was more like a suspension.
Those are not allegations. No, not a suspension. He's been expelled from the party. He was expelled on the 20th of January.
On what grounds?
The allegations against him which have now been confirmed, first, that he was engaging in anti-party activities, he was engaging in nocturnal meetings with opposition party, and then undermining the position of the party in his local government area and then in the state. And secondly, he had failed to obey lawful directives of the party. There was a petition against him by someone from his ward. That petition passed through the disciplinary process. He was invited, I think, twice. He failed to turn up. He spurned that invitation. And so therefore, the party took a decision to mete out disciplinary sanctions against him. That was ratified by his ward and sent to the party hierarchy in the state, which looked through the process again and said they had no qualms with it. So he stood expelled from the party, not suspended.
But it sounds like at the national level, they did not give credence to what the state had agreed upon in terms of expelling him from the party, because I think that was part of the argument that was held, that nationally he is still recognized as a member of APC. So then the Akwa Ibom State chapter does not hold much sway.
No. The constitution of the party is explicit. You remember that we had a national chairman in the APC, Comrade Adams Oshomole, former governor of Edo State, now senator-elect. Yeah. He was also removed from office by his ward chairman, by the ward executives. The disciplinary action meted out to him was by the ward executive. So it has nothing to do with the national. What the constitution requires is that if there is an allegation at the unit level or at the ward level or at the local government level, petitions must also arise at that level and disciplinary actions be taken out, meted out at that level. That is exactly what was done. Senator Tanang has challenged that. He's in court challenging his expulsion. He cited a couple of issues. And the party is also in court with him to justify why they had to send him out of the party. And some of the things Senator Itana is doing now actually justifies the fact that the party was right in sending him out. But I'm sure the courts would also give its decision. The APC is a law-abiding party. The APC would not come to give its own interpretation to what the law says or what the court say. Whatever the court says, the APC will stand by it. But as of today, as far as the administrative procedures, administrative and disciplinary procedures of the party are concerned, those have been carried out against Senator Itana, and he ceased to be a member of the party. So, like he said, that the court said go back for primaries. Supposing we were to hold elections tomorrow, which court within its senses would say?
I'm happy that you pushed us to that angle now.
Because I think that's something I wanted to come to.
So even if the court had said go for primaries, Senator Itana is not a member of the party, so it would mean that he wouldn't be able to contest in the primaries.
So let's still look at Udofia, even as, now we know the Supreme Court has given further interpretations of things that the appeal court had already given voice to. But we have a letter here dated 9th of March 2023, written to INEC.
I was going to come to that.
Yeah, written to INEC to uphold Udofia, put him in the listing of people that will appear on the ballot come now the 18th of March. But it looks like so far there's been no response by Yakubu Mahmood, who is the chairman of INEC, because I don't see any response to this letter that was addressed to Professor Mahmood Yakubu, chairman of INEC.
And even if the elections was going to hold on the 11th, which is tomorrow, how would he have contested when his name is not in the ballot?
Well, interesting times. A lot of the things we're going through, well, I'll speak for myself because of my privileged position. I may not be able to be very explicit, but a lot of the things that are happening in Akwa Ibom State depend on and are tied to the governorship candidature of Udofia of the APC. I'll speak no further about that. But you see, you can't hold valid elections in Akwa Ibom State for governorship and exclude the candidate of the APC.
But his name is not on the ballots.
Well, you can't hold valid elections in Akwa Ibom State for governorship and exclude the name and candidature of Udofia.
So does that mean that the elections will not hold in Akwa Ibom on that day because Udofia's name did not appear on the ballot?
Well, I'm just saying that you can't validly hold governorship elections in Akwa Ibom State without the logo of the APC appearing on that ballot. It would have consequences of monumental proportions. Consequences of monumental proportions. I don't need to be too
I think you're just being careful with your choice of words and giving.
I'm always careful. I'm always
explanations
careful.
to this.
I'm always careful with my choice of words.
Barrister, it's a big one here, and that is why it has put the people of Akwa Ibom State in legitimacy to the candidacy of Udofia as the APC flag bearer for the gubernatorial elections.
That's right.
Then we should be able to. The judgment was given on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's right.
So why is it taking this long for us to see his name?
On date is on account of reconfiguration or configuring the BVAS machines. And I heard that, part of the reasons could be to allow room for, candidates, maybe allow them more room to mop up, tidy up their campaigns and all of that. So Udofia would take that benefit of that extension. But like I said, he is the candidate of the party, so therefore he would contest the elections. As members of the APC, we will not do the work of the Independent National Electoral Commission. We would only place a demand on the commission to live up to its bidding and be neutral and act within the ambit and the confines of the law.
So what's the APC doing for that to happen?
INEC is duty-bound to follow the law. It's not about anybody's wish.
What's the window for them to have
now, you made reference to a letter, addressed to the chairman of the commission. And, the APC is, like I said, a law-abiding party. When you talk about the rule of law in Nigeria, that is the first mantra of the All Progressives Congress. Everything about the All Progressives Congress is about obedience to rules, regulations, laws. And we have used the law to maximum benefit. We have put it to maximum use, especially in Akwa Ibom State. Almost every aspect of our operations have been subjected to litigation. The party structure, ward chairman, states, working committee, the candidature of our senatorial candidates in Akwa Ibom Northwest, senator-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and then now our governorship candidate. All of these things pass through the crucible of the legal process. Now, the APC has also acted ex abundanti cautela. That is a Latin expression which means that we have exercised our discretion with abundance of caution. That is the import of the letter you are referring to, dated the 9th of March. So even after the Supreme Court had given judgment, we have also gone to the Federal High Court to say, just in case there are people who would always go through the background or to the backyard to do amateur videos just to sow seeds of discord and create confusion within the polity, which is deliberately aimed at mischief and demarketing the APC so that other opposing parties can take advantage of this seeming confusion. The APC has also gone to court to compel, just in case the INEC also says that, well, you know, the confusion generated by the Supreme Court judgment, we are also not clear about it. Clarity of what the Supreme Court has said shouldn't be an issue. But the confusion is generated by people who have lost out of the entire process, litigation process. So we have gone to court. We have gone to court, and the Federal High Court has compelled INEC. It was a mandamus proceedings, judicial proceedings compelling administrative action, saying that based on the judgments of the Court of Appeal and that of the Supreme Court, Mr. Chairman, you are duty bound under the law to do X, Y, Z. That is the purport of the letter dated the 9th, conveying the judgment of the Federal High Court to the chairman of INEC. Now, if INEC was not satisfied with the decision of the Court of Appeal and is also not clear about the decision of the Supreme Court, now it has an unequivocal pronouncement from the Federal High Court issuing a writ of mandamus saying you are under law obligated to publish the name and list Udofia as the candidate of the party. Okay, and that is why and that's why I said that the governorship elections of Akwa Ibom State would be incomplete.
Yeah, because I was going to take you back to that particular comment. I was going to take you back to that particular comment. We have just 1 week from the gubernatorial election. So if we do not have your candidate on the ballot, what happens? Are you trying to say that there will be no elections in Akwa Ibom State because his name is not on the ballot?
No.
And I'll still ask the question: how long will it take INEC to have his name on the ballot?
No, I don't work for INEC. I don't hold their brief. I can't also place a timeline as to when INEC would take action.
But so far, has there been any responses from INEC, especially because you've written through the courts to INEC to put Udofia's name on the list? Is there any response as to why there is a delay in the process of putting his name on the list?
Or there's also a procedure to have his name on the ballot?
As law-abiding citizens, as a party that respects the rule of law, we have our own obligations, and ours is to be alert and very vigilant. We have done our bit through the court process. We have brought all of those to INEC's table, and INEC has the powers to do what it ought to do. Now, INEC is also being compelled by the court, and we don't think that INEC would behave like the Central Bank of Nigeria, that openly flouted the orders of the Supreme Court of Nigeria and continues to flout the orders.
Let me ask one more question because we're running out of time now. There's been a lot of underlining talks about, an alliance being formed between the All Progressive Party, Congress, now your candidate, and the YPP. Let's put that to rest.
Well, there's no such alliance. The All Progressive Congress is an independent party. We have very distinct manifestos. We have a governorship candidate, and we've done our campaigns. We have told the Akwa Ibom people what we represent, and we have emphasized that this contest is non-negotiable because it is about the future of Akwa Ibom people. It's about the welfare of our senior citizens. It's about revamping our education sector. It's about dealing with the issues of unemployment in the state. It's about ensuring that the dignity of our homes as the base of family, of society, family unit is restored by ensuring that our workforce are well remunerated.
So in a situation or in a case where
we are not going to cede our position to the extent that we lose our distinct identity on the platform or altar of any alliance. We are also not averse to people. You hear stories about structures collapsing everywhere in Akwa Ibom State. Structures are collapsing. Structures are collapsing. I also saw a photograph of a vehicle engaged in an accident, I think belonging to the PDP. And then someone just wrote under it and said, oh, the NEPA pole has collapsed its structure on the whatever vehicle. So we make a lot of jokes about all of these things. So we're not about to collapse our structure. We're not a collapsing entity. But if there are individuals and associations who admire what we're doing, we are satisfied that the majority of Akwa Ibom people admire and subscribe to what we're doing. But if there are other groups who also do so, well, they're free and willing and ready to come and join us. But then, as APC, no, we're not into an alliance with any other party, definitely not with the YPP.
Okay, so just to land the conversation, there's been gaps because of all the litigation going on around Akademo Udofia. In terms of campaign, you've had little or no time to amass, the interest of the citizens for your candidate. How is that going to be in the less than 1 week that you have to the polls if his name appears on the ballot?
No, you see, when you say if his name appears on the ballot,
so you can skip that, just go straight to campaign.
This is the candidate of the party, leading front runner in this governorship election.
All right.
In fact, the race is between Akwa Udofia and other political parties.
Okay.
Other political parties. The PDP candidate has nothing to say, because the PDP candidate will be running on the platform of the performance of the present government. It says it's about continuity. I don't know what that means, but this candidate will be judged on the basis of the failings of this government.
So your candidate has not done enough
we have gone through
so how will that affect you?
We have gone through all the local government areas of Akwa Ibom State successfully.
Okay.
And you need to see the outpour of emotion and support, and groundswell of a reception for Akademo Udofia. We have met several groups. We have met with the pensioners, we've met with civil servants, we've met with retirees, we've met with most sectors of the Akwa Ibom society that are going to be participating in this voting process.
Okay.
And we're comfortable.
Okay.
You can't do enough in an election, but we're comfortable. You do not need eternity to be able to push across this message. The issues in contention are quite simple. They are lucid, and Akwa Ibom people must choose whether to go forward or whether to go backwards.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like Nigerians will say, the Supreme Court has given the judgment, and as it stands, as further interpreted by Barrister Imo here, the candidate for the APC, as stated by the court, is Akademo Udofia.
No, I only threw light on that. Yeah. I didn't interpret. Only Senator Etainan is interpreting judgment.
So we'll definitely see how all of this will pan out at the end of the day, definitely.
The polls will determine all of this at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
But this is definitely all that we can take on today's show, and it's been a great time. We must say a big thank you to everyone who called in on the show and made their contributions of things happening across the country. We really must say it's still biting financially, but we do hope that everyone can find a way to cope at this time. We know that the CBN, like Barrister had also insinuated, is standing against the court order, but let's see how we push ahead as a country. My name is Yaneka, and it's been a delight to be on the show this week. Thank you very much for being a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's find a way to maneuver things. We'll see you again next week, Monday. But do well to enjoy your weekend. Do well to rest properly. And also have a good time out. So we'll see you again next week, Monday. My name is Janice Kobum.